There we go. All right, guys. So welcome to the webinar after I just gave an amazing exhortation to get the thing started. But a question that I kind of like to start off with is that's my beautiful family right there. Is you know why do you guys feel, and if I can I just get like a thumbs up to make sure that you guys can see me and see the screens more importantly. Izzy, I'm gonna use you as a reference, bro. You're my guy, so you can see them. Okay, cool. Um, guys, if you can, I mean, today's gonna be super interactive. I just kind of want to give a little bit of a preface as to what to expect today. We're gonna get into some financial facts and some current economic statistics and things that we have going on. But I love to make my webinars, I love to make my events super interactive, right? So if you guys just can, like, if you can, just drop one thing that you are looking to get out of today's webinar. And it's so important because now you are what I call setting the expectation, and you're turning your brain, you're giving your time, your agenda. You guys all have busy schedules. Like, you're giving yourself the opportunity to just learn and have the tough conversation about money, right? It's kind of like a taboo topic nowadays for some odd reason. Like, I know, like, sometimes I would bring up the word money at a family dinner, and everyone would just like turn against each other and be like, yeah, mijo, you ain't talking about money here, right? We're gonna talk about the novelas, right? It's not gonna happen tonight. We're not watching novelas tonight. We're talking about finance. We're talking about money, right? And I want to start breaking some of those generational curses of not being able to have the conversation, about money, right? We're gonna spend probably about 35, 40 minutes. I'll present for the next 35 minutes, maybe brand new content that I'll be talking about today. Everything from the state of the economy to relationship with money. I think that's a really big, the psychology of money. Some solutions that I feel would be really great foundational pieces. And for some of you guys that went to World Shakers, you guys understand that one of those pillars, one of those foundational pillars for me personally is finance, right? Not just personal finance, but you guys know I'm in the financial services, industry. And I'll get into what that stuff kind of looks like. We're going to take a look at some comparisons, some compare and contrast. And then we're going to open up for Q&A. I think the most power in these webinars is having the ability to answer questions to professionals, right? And I have some other financial professionals on here with me today that, that if I don't have the answer, I know I don't know everything. I don't consider myself to be a guru. Then I know that I have the right people on this webinar to be able to lean my ladder on and get into it. So let's get right into the content. Thing number one that we want to get started with is, what is the state of the economics right now in the United States? I think, I had a mentor tell me once, and he is, when I say one of my mentors, I'll talk about him a little bit later today, but this guy is a real estate Mongol, right? When I was under his leadership and his mentorship, I was working with him. He owns a real estate private equity firm. He used to tell me, man, when you're doing sales, you got to lead with the data. You got to lead with the data because data tells us exactly what's going on. And I'm going to get into maybe anywhere between 4 to 5 major economic concerns that are going on in the United States today. And number one is debt. Number one is debt, right? You guys saw it on the promotions. How many of you guys got the emails leading up to the event, right? Leading up to the event. And number one is debt. The United States debt right now is at $35 trillion. Okay. So a lot of times, we're worried about making money, doing this, doing that. But the reason why is because, inflation's out of control, right? Things are getting out of control. And to be honest with you, one of the biggest reasons is our U.S. debt is also out of control. This is a conversation not many people are talking about right now, right? This is a usdebtclock.org. I actually screenshotted this when I was building out my presentation earlier today. And this is something to keep an eye on, guys. If you guys ever want to see how are we doing as an economy right now, this thing is loaded with information, completely free, usdebtclock.org. And some things that stand out to me when I'm looking at the U.S. debt, right? We talk about pandemics, epidemics. I mean, this is you want to call it pandemic. This is a pandemic right here, right? The U.S. total debt surpassing 35 trillion, on his way to 36 trillion. Okay, credit card debt currently at 1.3 trillion dollars, absolutely out of control. Student loan debt 1.7 trillion, and then automotive debt is absolutely out of control as well. And I had that here earlier. I think I lost it in the numbers here, but automotive debt also completely out of control. I have a typo here on my slides, but things to notice, right? Number two, big economic concern, things that we aren't really paying attention to. Baby boomers right now, right? Some interesting facts on baby boomers. Did you guys know that baby boomers own or they actually have the majority of wealth in the United States right now? This graph here, this graph that I found earlier is actually pretty accurate, right? Maybe a little bit off, but $76.2 trillion right now being held by baby boomers. Who are the baby boomers? This could be our grandparents or parents, right? Typically people born between the years of 1946 and 1964. And like I said, assets under control, they own trillions and trillions of dollars right now. And it's so important to pay attention to these things because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we start thinking about legacy. Some of you guys, I mean, a lot of you guys look super young, right? Myself included. I'm gonna throw myself in that category. Did you guys know 10,000 people are turning 65 every single day right now? 4 million Americans retiring every year. Okay. Really interesting things to keep at the forefront as we get into today. Major economic concern number 3. Okay. Major economic concern number 3, our U.S. healthcare. And this is an alarming one, guys, because a lot of times earlier I talked about debt. It's not necessarily, I used to have a tax guy. He used to do my taxes before I fired him. My very first tax guy is probably one of the best things that he did for me. He taught me this. He said, Pablo, it's not necessarily about how much you make. It's about how much you get to keep, right? And one of the statistics that when I started thinking about money, right, in the future, we all plan probably to get old. I mean, I hope the majority of you guys do, right? I know I plan on getting old, right? But here are some interesting stats when it comes to healthcare, okay? Average cost of health insurance for a family of 4 right now in the United States, pretty crazy, $24,000 for a family of 4. Imagine that, okay? I know, crazy stats. Average in-home nurse, somebody gets sick in your family, maybe it's one of our parents, they need in-home assistance. On a high end, about $13,000 a month. Low end, we're looking at about $11,000 a month in California. And just a correction on that number above, $24,000 a year. That's a boo-boo on my end. Okay, I gotta proofread this a little bit more. But the average cost of health insurance on per year is about $24,000 a year. Okay. Now, say something happens, Pablo, I don't need health insurance. I'm talking to myself right now. I feel like I'm Iron Man. Lately, I've been getting into the Marvels movies, and I feel like I'm Iron Man. Okay. But guess what? I'm also human, and accidents happen. Okay. Accidents happen. I just had a friend recently, man, had a motorcycle accident, and he's been hurt. I had another buddy that calls me. He runs the 60 freeway. He's a tow truck driver, full-time, beautiful father of 3, one of my best friends. And the stories that he tells me all the time, he had a coworker that was a tow truck driver, also a father, helping somebody else on the freeway and gets hit by a car. Healthy guy in his mid-30s. And the reason I bring that up, guys, it's so important because a hospital stay right now, averaging around $3,700 per day. Okay, per day. Imagine that. Pablo, I thought you said we're talking finance, not healthcare. Well, guys, believe it or not, one of the biggest reasons why people go broke is because healthcare. Okay, hospital bills, medications, best doctors. Okay, here's a big one. Saving for the future. People are stressed out more than ever right now when it comes to saving and investing into the future. So I ran some statistics, okay, about saving for the future. Let's just say you want to send little Pablo, little Gabriella to college one day. Right now, not in the future, but right now, okay, average college tuition. This is not Yale or Harvard. This may be like a D3 school or something like that, right? High end at Mount Sac, right? $15,600. Crazy. Crazy. Who wants to, this is a curious one, right? And we're going to get into the content. I promise you guys, but I got to give you the juice first, right? I got to give you all the bad news first, right? If everyone could just put in the chat, what do you guys think that the average savings per family is in the United States? Put it in the chat if you can right now. Okay. I want to know, how economically aware are we? What do you guys think? $100? Is that $100, Caesar? Or is that a 100,000? I don't know what that, $100. Okay. Per family. Okay. Here's a shocking one. Here's a shocking one. As even my dog is tripping, right? My dog is tripping. I'm working out at home today. Praise God. Okay. $10,000 per family. Per family, not per individual, per family. Pretty crazy. That may be on the high end too. Okay. Some of you guys may be entrepreneurs, right? This one's for you, right? Small business startups. We're in a world right now. I was having a conversation earlier with a pastor friend of mine. Average person right now in America, they don't, like, you asking kids right now, like in school, what do they want to be when they grow up? I remember back in the day, we used to say, yo, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a Major League Baseball player. That's what I used to say, right? Now you ask the average child in school, they say they either want to be a YouTube influencer or they want to be an entrepreneur, right? Well, guess what? Being an entrepreneur, you need some capital to start that business. What do you guys think the average small business startup is just to get something going, right? Imagine that. What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Average small business startup right now. Crazy statistic. You ready for it? Pretty close, Celeste. $35,000. $35,000. I've spent easily $250,000 on businesses that I've launched. Nearly 10 years almost 10 years of being an entrepreneur. Pretty crazy, right? These are shocking statistics right now that are going on economically, and it's important that we start doing, right? Let's get into some more financial statistics, the state of the economy, right? Jobs right now. I just saw numbers earlier, unemployment hovering around 4%, just over 4%. Okay, pretty crazy. Things to keep, once interest rates start to fall, and once unemployment numbers start to rise, we're going to start to see some major economic shifts. Okay, recently, Feds lowering and hiring interest rates, right? The days of the 2%, 2.5%, 3% interest rates. I mean, I got my lender on here. Shout out to Celeste, right? I think she could probably back me up on this. Those days are over. I don't know for how much. I don't know if we'll ever see them again. But some of you guys that are preparing yourselves to buy a home in the near future, it may be time to just pull the trigger now before things start to get a little bit worse. Because as rates start to fall, that means home prices start to climb up, right? And we could always refinance rates. Again, I'm not a real estate professional. I do invest into real estate. I do some real estate things on the side, and we'll talk more about real estate here a little bit later. But things to understand, right? A little bit more. Average cost of living. Okay, this was an interesting one. I'm full of stats today. I'm full of data. Remember what my mentor told me earlier? Data is so important when we're talking about finances. What do you guys think? In the chat, okay, in the chat, in the United States of America, okay, average cost of living, drop it in the chat. What do you guys think? Average cost of living on a yearly basis. Average cost of living on a yearly basis. Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. $61,000 on average. Okay. $61,000 on average. Okay. Average income in the United States. Average income in the United States. About 60 grand a year for the average American. Guys, It is time now to get educated with our finances more than ever. Okay. And this is why I'm so passionate about it. Okay. I'm going to give you guys my biggest reason why I promise I'm not going to talk much about myself today, but I think it's really important for some of the people on here that may not know who I am, why I'm so passionate about this. For me personally, my dad was from Mexico City. I'm a first generation Cuban Mexican American here in the States. That's my beautiful mom back in the day with my dad. And she's from Cuba. When my dad came here as an immigrant, my mom came here as an immigrant. For Latinos, I'm going to speak a second to all my Latinos out there. Hard work isn't the problem, right? My dad I hardly ever, to be honest with you, I was 14 years old when my dad passed away. I hardly knew him. Okay. Not to mention he wasn't set up financially, but we'll get into that later. For Latinos, we could work all day long, 10, 12, 13-hour days, being away from our kids, our family, our loved ones, right? And if we're going to do that, we dang well might as well set up ourselves financially, okay? Because when my dad passed away, I mean, like I said, we'll get into that later, but it was rough. That right there, I mentioned earlier, I had a mentor, still a really good friend of mine. He owns a real estate private equity firm based out of Temecula in Tennessee. Ryan Garland, some of you guys may know him. Very well-rounded financial guy, mortgage guy, real estate guy, doing some really big things. And he's really one of the guys that got me starting to invest into real estate. That right there in the middle is once I bought my third property. Like I said, I own a couple different properties, rental properties. That's actually one of my main ones. Recently just leveraged some of the stuff that we're going to talk about later today to build an ADU, build some extra cash flow, right? We'll get into that stuff. That's my beautiful family right there. I'm getting married next month, and my two new beautiful kids, Ezra, Mila, and my beautiful fiance, Gabriella. And this is my reason, right? This is why I'm passionate, because I'm passionate about helping families financially. And that's my great team there on the bottom right-hand corner. Some of them on here today. I also own a franchise with the Financial Architects. We're a financial planning firm. And this is what we do for families. We're passionate about helping people set themselves up for finances so that they could go spend time with their family, right? Spend time with their family. And this is what I want for all of you guys as well, right? This is what I want for you guys as well. So, ice-breaking question, right? How do we know if we're making the right financial decisions? Maybe you're a W-2 employee and you're putting money in a 401k, and your employer's matching you 2%, you're putting up 4%, 10%. I talk with people all day long. Or maybe you're a business owner and you don't know how to save money, right? How do we know if we're making the right decisions, right? I don't know when it comes to the relationship with money. I don't know if I'm the only one that's ever felt like this, but these are unspoken feelings about finances. I remember waking up sometimes and being scared to even open up my bank account because I didn't want to see if I was in the negative. I remember feeling shameful about talking about finances with mentors, with coaches, with even my friends and family. I remember doubting that, dang, will I ever make six figures? Will I ever be able to be a homeowner? Will I ever be able to start a business, right? There's fear that gets in the way. Maybe, fellas, I'm going to talk to you right now, okay? And hopefully I don't lose any of you guys here. Pride. Guys, I've been thrown out of homes talking to men that are twice my age, 3 times my age, because they're scared about talking about money, saying, nah, man, I throw my money under the mattress. Fellas, come on, man. Pride. Don't let pride get in the way, because believe it or not, that was my dad. I remember my mom wanting to sit down with my dad one time. I was probably about 10, 11 years old. And my mom tells me this story that, she sat down with them to have the conversation about life insurance. They went out to a date night. He got up from the table, left her at the table at the restaurant. 2 years later, 3 years later, he passes away. No life insurance. Real life. I remember feeling disbelief. And even till this day, I'll be completely honest. Can I be honest with you guys? Can I be 100% transparent? Sometimes I still stress out. I got employees, I got staff, I got team members, I got overhead, mortgages, rents. I stress out sometimes. I got numbers to hit myself. I was just having the conversation with my fiance a little bit earlier today about some things some money moves that we're trying to make, right? Here's a common one for my younger friends, right? People getting married. Yo, you guys know that the average wedding costs about 30 to 40 grand, maybe even more. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy, right? So if you're feeling these things, that's why these webinars are so great. But I don't want to just give you the dark stuff. I want to give you the good stuff, right? What comes from planning? Having clarity with finances brings you happiness, right? So that you can finally feel free, break away from that, right? Feeling joy, feeling peace of mind, feeling freedom, no stress. More money equals to more fun, right? But we start to have clarity, right? Once we start to do the work. See, remember, I was feeling here, but once I started to plan more, I started to feel and enjoy the fruits of the Spirit. And this is where God wants me. He wants me feeling happy. He doesn't want me stressed out about money, right? He wants me feeling peace. He wants me to be successful. Deuteronomy 8:18, right? He wants me to be successful. So it's important that we do the work, right? Not just have faith, but we also got to have the works. That's the book of James, right? I'm not going to preach on this, I promise. So before we get into the 5 pillars, because I know today you guys all came, Pablo, man, stop talking, man. Give me the juice already. I need you guys to repeat this after me. Today, I am giving myself the permission to become educated financially and to make the proper financial decisions necessary for me and my family's financial future. And if I could just get a thumbs up, if I could get an amen, if I could get a yes in the chat, I need to know that I have at least one person with me, right?
Amen.
I need to know that I have at least one person with me on this chat today, right? We have 25 people on this chat right now.
Amen.
You guys absolutely enroll, okay? So if this is you and you're absolutely ready, let's get into it, right? So what is the first pillar, right? The first pillar is we have to understand the power of credit. We have to know how to use it. We have to understand that as we increase power, that gives us ability to now acquire more assets, right? I have a bad history with credit. I had to go on a credit journey. It could be super expensive dealing with credit, right? But once I started to learn, one of the first things that I started to do, a lot of times we want to start knowing what the magic pill is to start investing and making money. But what we don't understand or what we don't look at is that these credit cards, they got 20, 22, 25% interest rates. Guys, the first investment you can make financially, pay off your dang credit. Because ain't no investment out there is going to pay you 22, 25%. At least, not that I know of, right? And that's guaranteed. They're guaranteeing to charge you that 20, 25%. So number one, pay off high interest card credit card, right? Here's another tip for you. Try to keep your utilization just under 30% of your credit limit, okay? Try to have it paid off, but definitely when that billing cycle comes around, don't let it be more than that 30%, okay? Don't let it be more than that 30%. I would start with no more than 2 cards, right? Typically what I do is I have a gas card and a utility card. I pay all my utilities with credit, and then right away I just pay them off. What that starts to do, it shows the credit card companies, oh yeah, Pablo's responsible for making payments. I gotta pay my bills anyways, right? I gotta pay for gas anyways. Okay. And then what I do is I pay it off and I get points, right? I start to get points. And with those points, I get to travel for free. I'm going on a dope honeymoon. Gabby and I are going on a dope honeymoon, and we're going on a couple different trips because I'm stacked up on points, right? So you got to pay yourself on that. And once that starts to happen, okay, you start to build a good relationship. It's like some of us, like when we were younger, we used to get allowances. Like if we did our chores and stuff like that, or some of you guys get bonuses at work when you're doing good things. Well, ask the bank for an increase. Yo, mom, dad, can I get a bonus? Maybe they'll give you an increase once or twice a year, right? And what that starts to happen is as you build a good relationship, now that starts to open up more doors for you to acquire real estate, which is the number one building wealth building investment that you can make. Okay. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Maybe building a business if you're a good entrepreneur and you got a good vision and all that good stuff, but that's a big one. Okay. Now we'll get into some other ones, right? And a little plug. If you need credit repair, we're going to open up for questions here towards the end. I have a plug for you guys on credit repair. I could get you connected. So if you do, just go ahead and drop it in the chat or shoot me a text here at the end of the webinar. All right. So let's get into the next four, right? I want to get into the SAFE program. When we're talking about retirement planning is something that a lot of us don't really fully like to integrate into, but I want to talk about building a safe retirement. What does that actually look like? I talked about baby boomers earlier, retiring almost every single day. And I'm a big acronym guy because I like to make things make sense for the consumer. So a safe retirement plan should have security. When I talk about security, it's confidence knowing you'll never lose in bad markets and always gain in good markets. Put in the chat if you'd like, or who would like an investment or an account, right, that would always win and go up in good markets, but be protected against the downside, right? Put a 1 in the chat if that's you. Access, right? Accessing your money. Did you guys know that 401ks, you can't even touch traditional IRA money, 401k money until you're 59 and a half? If not, the government goes like this and they slap you on the hand. They give you a 10% penalty. And then on top of that, you also got to pay taxes. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. I think I lost my slide here, right? Number 3, funds. Imagine having the ability. Who could tell me of a account that when the account goes to zero, it still pays you out money? Yeah, it's called guaranteed income, right? I saw somebody put in the chat earlier. I love guarantees, right? Receive guaranteed monthly income. Make sure you never run out of money in retirement. Imagine having that peace of mind, one of the emotions we talked about earlier. And then also having the peace of mind to know that you're going to leave an estate back for your family. Now, put in the chat, Pablo, what are you talking about? This is too good to be true, right? You're talking about security, access, lifetime income, an estate for my family. We'll get into the specifics a little bit later. But here's my question for the people that have IRAs, 401ks, old 401ks. Remember I talked about guaranteed against losses? Now there's really 3 different types of ways that money grows. A fixed account, kind of like a CD or a savings account. You're not going to get much paid, right? Then this right here, this red graph, okay? This is an example of something that we came out recently, 2013, 2015, called the Lost Decade. This is where Bob, at the start of 2000, had $100,000 in his 401k. Then he went through the dot-com bubble, came back up. He went through the big recession, 08, 09. And then it took him until 2013 to come all the way back up to 100 grand. He went through 13 years of making no money. Who would want to make no money in 13 years? That's crazy. But then you have Steve. And Steve was smart. He had that same $100,000. He rolled his money over and he was able to grow with the market. Now, if you guys can, interact with me, okay? Who would you rather be, Bob or Steve? Put in the chat. Let me see who's listening, okay? Who would you rather be, Bob or Steve? I don't know about you, but Fred, I would love to be Steve, right? Brooke, same thing. I want to be Steve, right? Yes, Caesar, same thing. Genesis, same thing, right? I want to be Steve. There's a lot of statistics that are starting to show that we could be entering this time again. So for people that have old 401ks, old IRA money laying around, I won't get into the weeds of it, but this may be the time that you may want to start having the conversation with somebody that invited you here, right? I'm going to make it rain today, okay? So my A stands for asset protection. And when I talk about asset protection, I told you guys earlier, when my dad passed away in 2009, this is a gentleman that had, nearly 100 restaurants, multiple houses. I mean, the guy was set up. I was 14 years old. And you know what sucked about that? We went through a 6.5-year probate case because he had no living trust. He had no legacy plan. And we had to go into something called probate. and it sucked. We lost nearly 95% of his estate, paid a bunch of taxes, and we lost wealth. So if you're a homeowner, you got kids, listen, guys, there's a stat out there somewhere. It's like 30%, 35% of homeowners have a living trust. I would get on it. We could help you with that. And I could share a little bit more later on ways and steps that you could start taking in the right direction. But it's crazy. I always look at a living trust, kind of like a safe, right? If you were to go on a vacation, you wouldn't just leave your door open. You would put everything in your safe and lock it up. It's the same thing with the living trust. And that's why I always tell my clients and a lot of my friends and family, a living trust is a must, because it also protects you against people out there. We live in a sue world. Everyone wants to sue you for everything, right? Control it, but don't own it, right? I had a wealth manager tell me that one time. You want to control the asset. You don't want to have it under your name directly, okay? So asset protection is really big. Income protection, right? Here's a really important one. We talked about a lot of these facts earlier. There's short-term income protection and long-term income protection. And really, when we talk about income protection, it's like, Pablo, what are you talking about, right? I'm talking about three of the following things. I'm talking about, hey, Johnny, what happens if you were to have a disability and you were to become disabled? Oh, Pablo, don't worry about it. I got disability. Okay, well, disability is going to pay you maybe 40% of your annual salary. And we just said, imagine earlier we talked about average income in the United States is about 60,000, 61,000. Imagine living off of 40% of that. It's crazy. Can you afford to be disabled? I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I can't though. Okay. What happens in the case of an illness? Did you guys know that 40% of Americans at some time in their life will have cancer? 40%. What's your cancer plan? Pablo, I got life insurance through my job. Yeah? What happens when you leave that job? Does a life insurance have any type of living benefits? Right? Do you own it directly? Or what happens when you meet your maker early? What happens to your spouse or to your children? Okay, I'm going to get super passionate about this because I went through it, guys. Gentlemen, ladies, moms, dads, parents, get yourself some life insurance, whether it be term or permanent. It doesn't have to be that expensive, but the new type of life insurance comes with something called income protection, where in the case of anything happening to you while you're still living, your income is protected and it pays you out while you're still living to be able to pay the mortgage, the employees, the business, the rent, the best doctors, whatever the case may be. So in the case of a disability, illness, or a death, you are 100% protected. Guys, we're wrapping up here. And if you have kids, I have something for you here on the next couple of slides. But before we move on to that, really two types of protection. When I say it doesn't have to be expensive, guys, this is $1 million policy on my left-hand side for $73, and you get all the benefits included, right? This is obviously for a younger gentleman, pretty good health. On the right side, it's a permanent one. It doesn't expire, okay? It doesn't expire and also grows your money. Imagine having a little over $900,000 that you could tap into when you're in the prime of your life, right? Just by saving $500 a month. Are you crazy? With benefits? Come on, guys. A lot of you guys are spending more of that money out in Lake Havasu, right? It's time to start saving that money, okay? Now, when it comes to the next gen, I told you guys I was going to make it rain. This is one of my acronyms, okay? Next gen. This is a big one. For those of you guys that have kids, proper financial stewardship. I know in the Latino community, right? We don't really care about ourselves sometimes. We care more about our kids, which is, it's kind of crazy to me sometimes, right? Putting the kids before the marriage. Anyways, I lived it, right? Now, me and my girl, we're doing things a little different. Praise God for that one. But look, next gen planning. You still want to set up the kids for success, right? Imagine having the kids set up on a cash program. What is a cash program? You may be asking. A fund that you could use for college, you could use for assets, you could use for savings if little Gabriella wants to get married, or help them buy a home, right? This is a fund that doesn't just need to be used for college, but they could use it for college. Or maybe they want to go start a business, which is an asset, right? Remember, we talked about earlier, it takes what, $35,000 on average? Well, instead of getting a loan, why don't you just start saving for them? You don't know if they're going to go to college or start a business, or maybe just save up for the wedding or buy a car, right? For as little as 100, 150 bucks, 50 bucks even, you could set up your children, right? With something small, start now, or even set them up for home ownership in the future. So again, these are what I really call the 5 pillars, right? Number one, we want to make sure that we understand how to use debt, or I'm sorry, how to use credit cards so that we're not in debt like the rest of America. And then here's what I really call, we want to start having a safe retirement plan, start saving for the future. People are absolutely, it blows my mind how many people don't have a retirement account of any kind, right? Whether it be a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, or man, there's so many, or setting up some real estate, right? Like, protect what you have as well. Protect the income while you're still going, because during the bulk of your life, between 25 to 55, 65, that's your money making years, guys. Protect it, because one bad shot and you could be out, and it could affect you and your family. So make sure your income's protected, and make sure you're setting up those kids. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open up for some Q&A. Wow, praise God. Like, we still got the whole 25 people on here, which is awesome. And what I want to do in the meantime, okay, here's what I want to do in the meantime. So if you can, right, if you have questions, either raise your hand, drop your questions down in the chat. And this is also what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull up my website, okay? For some of you guys that may have questions, maybe you want to book an appointment, you want to get to know, or maybe somebody, a financial strategist, invited you to this webinar, okay? Get with them, set up an appointment. And if I invited you, you could click my website here, and we could go ahead and set up an appointment. Let me know. Let me know what questions it is that you have. But for now, guys, I promised you guys it was going to take about 30, 40 minutes. So I'm a man of my word. I wanted to keep my promise. And now what I want to do for you guys is I want to open up for some Q&A, okay? Any questions that you guys have, I'm also going to send a link out for a review. So if you guys could shoot me a review, that would be great. Victor, my man, what's going on? My boy, Victor, what's going down, bro?
What's up, bro? I would show you my handsome face, but I'm driving right now and it's super
Oh,
dark, so you wouldn't be able to see it anyway, so my bad.
no worries.
But hey, bro, out of curiosity, you had mentioned the like kind of Latino culture a couple of times, right? And then there's like some people that I know that could benefit from like a living trust, but like kind of like you said, culturally, it's like a little weird or taboo to talk about. Do you have any advice in like how you would share this information with like loved ones? Like any ways of like bringing down the walls or kind of like leading into the convo?
Yeah. Yeah, really, really good question, bro. Here, I always like to say stories do the selling, man. Stories do the selling. So just speak with whoever it is. We'll just call him Jose. Jose, bro, I just got off this webinar, man, and I was thinking about you. I know you're a homeowner, you got a family. And the guy that was giving the webinar, bro, was talking about having a living trust, having your home and your assets in a living trust. You know, he went through 6.5 years of probate after his dad passed away unexpectedly. You know, leverage the story if you have to. I mean, that's the honest truth, guys. You know, it being able to share this stuff is so important, right? And I mean, there's so many tragic stories that I hear out there of families going through probate, losing their homes. Like it's really sad. So I would just maybe share with him, hey man, like I just heard this, bro. I don't know. I was just curious. Like I thought about you. I'm hitting up all the people I know that have a home. Do you have your assets in a trust, bro, at all?
Okay, cool. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. Great question. Great question. Guys, any other questions when it comes to any type of anything that we talked about here today? I know that hopefully I'm hoping that some of you guys at least had some aha moments. Maybe something spoke to you, something stood out to you, some sort of downloads were given to you where it's like, man, I either got to start saving more money, I got to pay down my debt a lot faster. Like, what is it, right? Maybe I want to start planning for the future and you know, I want to buy a home here in the next couple of months. And I just want to make a quick little plug. If Celeste could unmute herself and kind of share, guys, when it comes to home ownership and getting qualified with real estate, honestly, I get these questions all the time. Celeste has been absolutely amazing to me and my family. She's helped me purchase real estate. She's helped my family purchase real estate, and she's helped a lot of my clients purchase real estate. So if you're somebody that is interested in wanting to see if you even qualify, I just want to make a nice little warm introduction for Celeste, and have her kind of just introduce herself a little bit.
Hi, thank you, Pablo. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I think it's very important what you said about planning, right? Planning, it's where everything starts. And when it comes to mortgages and real estate, that is definitely the number one thing. A lot of people are under the assumption that maybe they don't qualify or they don't make enough, or or they just don't even know where to start. So the first thing to do is 100% reach out to one of us. We can guide you, we can help you. Let's plan, right? He has a credit person, so if you're worried about your credit, there's no reason why you shouldn't reach out to Pablo and use his plug, right? So that we can help you get there. Real estate, 100% I agree with you, and not because I'm in the business, but because we're also investors. 100% real estate is a very important thing to do and to save your money in, right? So if you're interested, if you want to talk a little bit more to me about how to start the process, or just looking into what it is that would take to qualify, we can definitely help you with that and kind of get you started. And if you're not ready now, at least we have a plan and that we can work towards to get you there. So number one is just taking the first step to all of this.
Absolutely, guys. And thanks, Celeste. Thanks so much for sharing. I think somebody, Genesis, had a question. I don't know if she's still on here, but we'll go ahead and get you connected with her. Celeste, if you could go ahead and maybe just get in contact with her. But guys, any other questions, anything that we really talked about? Today was really more of an overview, right? If for any next steps that you guys would like, Celeste is a lender broker as well. So again, if you have questions, feel free to book on my calendar. You go on my website, all the questions there. I have a nice little questionnaire. Takes less than 30 seconds to book and ask a question, and I'll reach out to you. I believe Delilah, was it Delilah? Yeah, yeah. If you want, you could unmute yourself and ask the question. And then Miriam, when it comes to Miriam, I will get to you right after this. I do have a credit repair person as well.
Hi, okay. I think I'll also book the thing because what I really need, I started off really well, but when I got separated, I had to be the one in charge of my mortgage. And like the last couple of years, I've just been struggling to stay afloat. So I don't want to fumble my blessing. I bought my home in 2009 of the recession. I lost a sibling who didn't have a living trust. So that's one thing that I'm terrified about. But I desperately need a living trust, but I just feel like there's so much out there. I don't know like what to trust, what's real. Everything's just scary.
Yeah.
Which is why I told you why I really gravitated, because it's like you represent God, like you seem like a God, fearing man, and it just seems like your business is, I don't know. So I just feel comfortable. So I really need a living trust. And also, if I got so behind in debt, I really don't want to touch the equity of my home. Like one of the things that I'm struggling with is, do I like get money to just pay off all my debt? Like that's the part, like when is it smart? Because I have a good rate already because I bought in '09, I have 3%. So I really don't want to mess with my stuff, but I am like drowning. Does that make sense? Or is bankruptcy a thing? I just don't know what to do because I'm just like drowning.
Yeah. First of all, Delilah, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much for just being vulnerable and sharing that information. I know that a lot of times it's so hard, so I just want to honor you for that. So thank you for sharing. Here are some of the things that I don't want to give immediate advice without having the conversation with you privately. But here are some of the things that I would just ask and maybe start gathering on, right? Number one, definitely fill out one of the online questionnaires that I just dropped in the link. But here are the things, like when it comes to the debt, and you don't have to answer this right now, but is there a lot of debt, and what is the interest rate that you're paying on that debt? Is the credit score still something that maybe we could take out a second mortgage to pay off that with a lower interest rate, right? That may be an option. Sometimes it's like we don't want to refinance because we have so much debt. But when you start running the numbers, we're paying so much in interest rates, and we could actually bring that down and pay the interest on a loan, right? So again, we could go through that planning. That's a little bit more complex. If you'd like, maybe even Celeste, myself, and you, and I think it was Gabriella that helped you get on the call. We could all schedule a Zoom and kind of dive a little bit deeper into that. And then when it comes to the living trust, do me a favor if you can, please. It takes 30 seconds or less to fill out a questionnaire on my website for a living trust. We'll go ahead and get that process going with you as well. Okay. Hopefully that helps. But we'll definitely we'll get that going. We'll move
Okay,
on.
thank you so much, Pablo. Yes,
You
the
got it,
living
though.
trust is my most urgent because I just
Sure.
want to protect my kids and, you know.
For sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and set that up. I think it was Gabriella too that's been in communication with you. So
Yes, please.
awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much. Miriam, questions on credit repair and also life insurance. Shoot away. If she's still here. I don't know if she's still here. Maybe, maybe not. Going once, going twice. Miriam. Okay. Well, Miriam, I still see you on here. No worries. Click the link. Any other questions, guys, in the meantime? Izzy, bro, I know that you had a couple people on here too. I don't know if you wanted to kind of unmute yourself, kind of share a little bit. Guys, Izzy's also one of my really good buddies and business partners. Priscilla, we'll get to you right after this, okay?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Well, thank yourself first of all. Well, first, for jumping on, right? It's I know it's 7 o'clock. It's kind of late. We have our little ones, running around because I got my daughter here, my wife listening as well. So thank yourself first of all, for coming on, right? And then also Pablo, thank you for all the information you gathered. I think for me, one of the biggest things is that, right? Income protection. There's a lot of young families here. I have a few friends of mine that hopped on, is protecting ourselves, right? From that. I've been in the industry for a long time, for 10 years. And I didn't take life insurance serious until my wife was pregnant. And it was like, oh shoot, like I need more protection because if something would happen to me, then you know what I mean? She would be struggling, financially. So I think that's the biggest thing is protecting yourself and protecting your family. But first of all, again, thank you everybody, and thank yourself for hopping on.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you. Priscilla, and then we'll get to Caesar after this. Caesar, I'll get right to you. Priscilla, I know you had a question as well.
Hi. So my question was this. Now, I have a life insurance policy that I've had for many years. My mom actually used to own her own book of business with Farmers Insurance. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's been going on with Farmers Insurance over the last 12 months, how they like dropped a lot of their agents and stuff like that, right? So they may or may not be non-existent pretty soon as a company. But I don't want to stay with Farmers. Like I was talking to Izzy, he invited me, and I was just thinking, what are the steps for him to look at my policy and see if maybe we could, I don't want to say match it. I want to do something better with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. I would definitely reach out to Izzy, make sure you get on his calendar. He has a booking app as well. But here's what it's funny that you bring up Farmers, because I had a meeting earlier today with a Farmers agent. Her and her husband have owned a Farmers franchise for about 10 years now. And they have probably over 500 clients, and they're actually looking to, because of exactly what you just said, they're actually moving over, and they're going to be coming over with me. But here's what I would say is Farmers, it's kind of like going to Nike and you're looking for a specific shoe. The nice thing about coming with Izzy or with us is that as brokers, we have access to over 40 companies on our platform. So it's really nice because, there's various different types of products and services that we could provide to you and customize something that's detailed to exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So whether that be converting it or getting you something better or looking at all your options, I would definitely take a look at that and sit with Izzy on that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. Caesar.
My brother Pablo, I don't know
Caesar.
how you got into my text message, brother, but I'm glad you did.
My man.
Hey,
Shout out to my CRM system, brother.
something happened, but I'm glad that we got to connect and I was able to join this meeting because you are doing some good work, my brother. I really appreciate the information you're bringing forward. The fact that I don't know you, but from what I heard today, you are a God-fearing man. You believe in God, and you're also doing a great service to the Hispanic Latino community. And so this community is so behind the curve of any financial, like you were saying, any financial topics. And so I really appreciate what you're doing. God bless you, brother. God bless your business. And again, just thank you. Thank you for doing this, man. I want to encourage you in doing that.
Caesar, my man, bro. Praise God, bro. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I don't take that lightly, man. And I really appreciate that, bro. Whatever I could do here.
I know you're in Chino Hills, brother. How do we connect? I got a couple things that I would like to bounce back with you and stuff,
Yeah.
and just connect.
Bro, let's get something. Let's get something on the calendar. I got your number here. Obviously, I got your number on the system too. So I'll reach out to you. I'll shoot you a note and we'll set something up.
Sounds good, brother.
Cool, man. Appreciate you. Guys, any other questions? Any feedback? Anything that you guys would love to share? Breakthroughs or questions or anything like that? Let me see the comments. How to get back to the fix issue? Let me know. Life insurance credit repair. Yeah. I don't know who that is. I don't know what your username is, but I did put a link. I will drop the link again. PabloAMoreno.com. Guys, feel free to fill out my survey. It takes less than 30 seconds. I will reach out to you tomorrow or reach out to the person that invited you to this Zoom. I know I have some of my team on here as well. But guys, I'm here to serve, right? My passion is, number one, is to obviously serve God. And I feel like part of my mission is also, part of that mission is to help families, set them and their families up financially and become homeowners and create wealth for themselves and their families so that we could ultimately just pay it forward, man. We just got to pay it forward. I've had the blessing of having a lot of great mentors and teachers in my life that have poured into me. And now my job is just to pay it forward. So I believe in the pay it forward principle. If there's no other questions, I mean, I appreciate you guys coming on. I will stay on here for a few more minutes, but that's pretty much the end of the presentation. Izzy, what's up to the little one? Is that Mila, bro? Is that Mila? That's dope. But guys, I appreciate it. All right. So if there's no other questions, I will stay on here for a few more, but that'll do it. That'll conclude for tonight's presentation. Stay tuned for the next one. See you guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Do we go for the survey? Do I click on the little bar that says request a free quote today? Is that where we fill out the survey?
Yeah, you can fill it out on that one, or you can fill it out. If you go on my website and it says services, I have one that says asset protection, and you can fill out the survey there.
Okay, the asset protections for the living trust.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, you
God
got it,
bless.
Delilah. Thanks so much.
Okay.
You guys.
How often you doing these, Pablo?
Sorry, bro.
How often you doing these?
I'm doing these. I'm getting back into the groove of it. I was focused on World Shakers and really the other side of the business. But now I'm getting back into the swing of these. I usually do these about once a month.
Okay.
And I'll rotate the topic. I'll do like a different topic.
Got it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Get my number down, bro, if you can. I think the number that you were getting was my CRM.
Right.
Whoever else is on here about to get my number too.
Ready.
305.
Come again.
305 522 9688. Shoot me a note, bro, and we'll line something up.
That's cool.
Caesar, I appreciate the time and you coming on, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Okay. See you guys. Thanks so much.
Deuces.